Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us here at the Catwalk. Up next, we have Sustainable by Nature with Juan and Fernanda from Incalpaca. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Roseanne, and thank everybody for coming. We are really glad to be here in London, presenting you and talking to you about Alpaca. Well, first of all, who we are. Okay? We represent the Grupo Inca, which is a group of companies from Peru that we have been working with alpaca for about 60 years now. And we have made of alpacas a lifestyle. That's why we said that for us, alpaca is a lifestyle. Now, we have different companies in the textile area. One of them is Inca Tops. They are the ones that make the yarns. Okay? They spin the yarn and finish the yarns from alpaca, and alpaca blends with natural fibers mostly. Also, we have Incalpaca, which is our company. We produce finished products in 5 different divisions, from throws for the home division to knitwear or sweaters for the knitwear division. Also, we have Pacomarca. Pacomarca, it's a research station that we have in the highlands, in the Peruvian highlands, where do make all the research to improve the quality of the fiber, but the most important is to being able to pay more money for the fiber that we buy in benefit of the breeders, which live in a very difficult situation in the highlands. Also, we have some brands from retail brands that they are mostly Peruvian, okay, Cuna and Andean, and also Amano, which is a hand knitting yarn. But basically, everything that we do goes around alpaca fiber. Now, it is important to talk about the breeders, because this is the main reason to be of our company. There is about 100,000 breeders in the Peruvian territory. 80% of the alpaca are from Peru, okay? And they are located in the highlands, above 3,800 meters over the sea level. So they live in a very critical position, in, surrounded by the nature and by the Andes. Now, mostly, every breeder has between 10 and 50 alpacas. There are some other bigger farms that have more alpacas, of course, but the average is 50 alpacas per breeder. Most of these breeders that are in our Andes, they breed their own alpacas, and it's a tradition that has been in Peru for the last 5,000 years or more, okay? So it passes from generation to generation, and this is something that they learn, how to keep the alpacas. But also, in Pacomarca, we are trying to teach them how to breed the alpacas in a way that they can get better quality to get better fiber and more money for them, okay? Because alpacas are the main way of living and incomes from them. Now, not too many people know, but there are 2 different kinds of alpaca. The alpaca huacaya on my left hand, and alpaca suri on my right hand. The alpaca suri, it's curly, fleecy, long hair. They are more delicate. They don't stand too much cold because they have less hair, but it's long hair. It's a beautiful animal, looks like a Rasta alpaca, but also has the finest hair that we can work with. And the alpaca huacaya, which is the most common alpaca, they are more resistant to cold weather because it can be very cold in the Andes. And also, it's the easiest to work with. Most of the alpaca populations are huacaya alpacas. Now, in terms of fiber, from one alpaca, we can get different qualities of fiber. Okay? The most common and the oldest one was the alpaca superfine, which is between 26 and 27 microns width. Then the baby suri alpaca and the baby alpaca, which are 22 to 23 microns width. But the difference between these two is that the Suri alpaca is less common, so it's less than 0.5% of the total alpaca production. And the baby alpaca, I would like to explain a little bit about this because it doesn't mean that comes from babies, from alpacas that are babies. It comes from alpacas that can be up to 5, 6 years old, but is the finest hair from the finest fiber from the body or from the entire body of the alpacas. Okay, this alpaca is picked by hand and separated by hand by women that have been working in our company for generation after generation. And they separate the baby alpaca, the royal alpaca, the Suri alpaca by hand. The royal alpaca is one of the last developments that we have made because with the time and with some work that we are doing with the alpacas, we get finer fiber. And 10 years ago, there was not too many royal alpaca, but we improving the breed of the alpaca, the genetics of the animal with natural crossbreeding, we just got royal alpaca, which is 18 to 19 microns. And this production is growing year after year because more farmers are able to get better fiber quality. So now Fernanda, our marketing chief, is going to talk about the white alpaca.
Hi everyone. As you may know, now fashion is moving to sustainability, and that's why we developed this concept. Why alpaca is actually the answer. Why alpaca is a sustainable fiber, and it's based on 4 facts. I'm going to explain a bit more of 2 of them, but the facts are: alpacas are gentle with the land. Alpacas save energy, which is really important nowadays. Alpacas also are a huge part of the history of Peruvian culture, and alpaca garments are unique because they're really durable. Alpaca garments are made for last. So alpacas are gentle with the land. This is in this chart you can see we compare alpaca through other animals that give natural fiber as cashmere and wool. For example, alpacas, they only nibble the top of the grasses, so they allowed the pastures to grow. We know cashmere and goats, they don't. On the other hand, we have also the hooves. Alpacas has soft pads instead of hard hooves. Then they don't damage the pasture when they walk on it. Alpacas, the breeders, as you heard before, they live above 3,000 meters above sea level. So the water is not used for agriculture. So alpacas, they don't mess around with the water that is used for creating for groups for people. And this is a chart. You can see how much the quantity of alpacas needed to be fed and the quantities of their fiber they can give you. Alpaca has is more efficient than cashmere and sheep. Also, alpaca save energy. Here is really important. Alpacas has 9 pure colors, and we can mix them and have up to 22 natural colors. So you can have your whole collection made of natural colors. This means you have an undyed yarn, and that saves water and saves electricity. Also, alpaca has a low grease content on this fiber. Another important thing to mention is the insulator rate. I don't know if you can see that clear, but alpaca has a rate of 16, which is the highest. Wool reach up to sheep's arrived this rate in 12, and alpaca is 16, which means it preserves better the warmth. This is Pacomarca. Juan Pablo mentioned it at the beginning. This is our research station, which we try to improve the alpaca fiber. And through improving its fiber, we're looking for breeders to earn more money because it's important for us that breeders can reach more for this fiber. Remember, they live about 3,000 meters above sea level, so there's pretty much nothing else to do about more than raising alpacas. At this station, we did one of the projects. The most important is the genetic improvement program. In the 90s, in Peru, the alpaca was only 25 of Huacaya fiber. At Pacomarca, we can reach now up to 60. And also, we have developed new, finest alpaca fiber qualities. In the 90s, the royal alpaca didn't exist. Now it has grown up to, now we have a 1% of royal alpaca developed. So this means that we are getting fiber more finest than we do before. Obviously, this is in the incomes for the breeders grows. Also, we have a program on color in the alpaca. 70 years ago, the alpaca, the Andes were, this is the picture that you can get from them. You will see alpacas from different colors, but the industry changes and wanted alpaca only in white because it was easy to dye. Now we are trying to invert this, and we have this program called white alpaca. Black alpaca. Black alpaca's population is only 0.5% of the whole alpaca population in Peru. So this program seeks to preserve the breeding of pure alpaca, black alpacas. We pay more the breeders for this kind of fiber, and it's getting better because also we produce more natural colors. Incasquila is another of the programs that we develop at Pacomarca, which is the technique for the shearing, and this has been adopted by the Peruvian government as the technical norm standard in shearing. So we preserve the well-being of the animals. That's important for us too. And also we can assure that the fiber is not contaminated. So eventually more incomes for the breeders.
Thank you, Fernanda. And at the contrary than other companies, we haven't made ourselves more sustainable because we are sustainable by nature. So it's not that we have been doing any effort to be more sustainable because the business itself, it is sustainable. But we have been trying to get more certifications, and the most important thing is to communicate how sustainable and how do we consider ourselves a sustainable business. But besides this, it's also the fashion, which is something that I know you like. And we have 5 different divisions in Incalpaca. We work with coats, outerwear, fabrics that we use to make the coats, mostly blended alpaca with wool and some other fibers, accessories, home division, and knitted garments like sweaters or jumpers, as you will say. One of the main things for us, one of the important things for Incalpaca is to keep developing new products all the time, because we understand that the market is very competitive, and that when people doesn't know what's the alpaca business and they haven't touched the alpaca, it's very hard to show them what we talk about when we said that we have a nice product. But one of the developments that we have done is the light alpaca. The light alpaca is, we have the lightest scarf made of alpaca in the market. And this has been done through a lot of investigation, a lot of development. So now we can have a shawl made of alpaca of 85 grams, which is very suitable not just for winter, also for some other seasons. Also, we have the Pure Collection. The Pure Collection, it's a collection that we made every year in all of our divisions, and we keep something especially for the natural colors, okay? So all the products that we do in this natural color collection, the Pure Collection, is undyed colors. So as Fernanda explained it, we can work with up to 22 different colors. For example, for home division, for home goods, this is very nice because you can have white, gray, black, camel colors and mix it. And those are perfect also for any kind of products that we do. We have developed also the recycle and upcycle products. All the leftovers of the fiber that we got on the factory are reprocessed and blended with some other fibers to have and being able to produce a yarn made of recycled alpaca. Right now, we can use about 100 tons of alpaca recycled every year. And something that we have been talking about with our customers, our visitors here in Pure London, is the stock service program. Because we understand that not all the business are big enough to have or to accomplish the minimums of production. Usually it's 150 units. But the stock service is a program that we have developed with the best sellers from all of our stock, all of our assortment, in the 5 divisions. And we are offering this stock service for people to have ready to send stock service with their own brands. So if you have a boutique, if you just have one store, this is the right way to start with Alpaca. There is no MOQs required. We can ship up in 2 weeks. We have the door-to-door service, so people don't need to understand or learn how to import the goods from Peru. We can do that for you with an additional cost, of course. And for us, it's a great way to start using Alpaca and offering Alpaca in your assortments. I'm sure your customers are going to love it because we have about 400 customers all over the world. We work with high-end brands in the 5 continents. And they love our products and our quality. And well, at the beginning I said that we never made ourselves more sustainable because we are by nature, but even though we are working in sustainability, our pillars are equity, environment, animal well-being, and resilience. In terms of equity, well, of course, we have the Fair Trade Peru agreement. We are always trying to make that the communities get the money that they deserve, when we buy the fiber from them. And there is a lot of different programs that we work to make sure that there is equity, not just inside the factory, but also with our environment. The second one is environment. We are working with Peruvian government in a calculator of carbon footprint. Okay, so there are 4 steps. We are in the second step, where a company from outside comes and certifies and measures our carbon footprint. The next step that will be probably next year is to reduce, to commit and reduce this carbon footprint to a desired level. And the 4th step, and which is the most important but the most difficult, is to be carbon neutral. And hopefully this will be in about 3 more years. Animal well-being, we have been working with Textile Exchange, okay, in the RAS. Textile Exchange has done the RAS, the wool, the responsible wool standard, the alpaca responsible standard, and also the mohair responsible standard. So it's a standard that will help the customers to understand if the alpaca fiber that comes from selected farm has been properly shorn, and the alpacas has been well treated all the way from they are born till they got shorn. And resilience, well, in these times, resiliency is a big word, and of course we are part of it. We are always trying to get new products to being in the same pace of the market. So I think after this pandemic, all of us are more resilient. So that's it. I don't know if you have any question. I would love to reply to you, but we have the booth. The number is
D100.
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 D100, so we'll be there if you want to visit us. Okay, we'll be glad to get you. Thank you.